Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown, Life of a Spiritual Nomad. Join Reiki Master and Quantum Healing Expert Wes Coons as he guides listeners through the depths of self-discovery and spiritual enlightenment to uncover the version of you we haven't met yet.
Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown, Life of a Spiritual Nomad. My name is Wes Coons, and welcome back to the show. It is Easter weekend. Hello, everybody. We have a special episode today, and we've got a special guest. I happened to go to my door, and guess who was at my front door? Say hi, Fawn.
Hello out there.
That's like Fawn like a baby deer, right?
Fawn like a baby deer.
All right,
yes.
I'm just going to call you baby deer from now on. So that works for us. So thank you for being a guest on the show. Thank you for participating. We were sitting there, and I texted her earlier, and I said, hey, do you want to do a podcast with me today? She's like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get on the show, right?
We knew it was going to be something around Easter, but we weren't sure exactly what.
Yeah. We're sitting there talking, and I started to channel things and pick up things, and I wanted to tell you that the story that you're believing is not true. I can feel your pain. And I want you to understand this. This is not who you are. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. This is not where you're supposed to be. You have a blessing in front of you, and what I would like for you to do is open your heart and receive the blessing that you've asked for. When I was praying a few minutes ago before this episode started, I asked Jesus, I said, give me the words that I need to speak today so you can receive your message. And the message is, you are beautiful and you are gifted and you are loved. And we talk about that on this show. And it's easy to say, but I really want you to think about that. You are lucky to die. It's an episode on a podcast I was listening to, and I didn't understand it. And the guy says there's millions of souls that try to come here, and you made it. You're not here to suffer. You're not here to be beaten down. You're not here for those things. You are here for an experience. Why don't you sum up what you're going through as an experience and change your story? You're not weak. You're not broken. You're a gift from God. You've been placed here for a reason, and that reason is for you to heal from the trauma that has been burdening you your whole life. And if you listen to this show at any level, we can heal in a second. When we start taking responsibility for the things that come into our life, take responsibility for all the energy around ourselves. And I want you to understand, you're not doing it alone. I can walk through hell with you. I can't do it for you. And I know the fucking shortcut, and we're going to take the shortcut. So, Fawn.
Yes.
You have a birthday coming up, don't you?
I do have a birthday coming up. I am blessed and fortunate enough to share my birthday with Earth Day, which is so appropriate. If you know me at all, you know that that's how I live my life, and that's what I'm connected to. And that's part of my relationship with the divine. And that's how they intended for it to be.
Yeah. I just always thought you were kind of crazy. Let's not even start talking about veganism on the show.
It's a shame the listeners out there can't see how hard I just rolled my eyes back into my head at the comment.
Sarcasm. That's sarcasm.
That is.
So, I wrote this down actually a couple of days ago. I want to read it to you. I want to read it. So, I was listening to Joel Osteen, and just some things were coming to me. Something that resonated that he said was, it's okay to run your race. And it's okay to be the person that you came here to be, the person that you were created to be, the person that you're divinely been gifted, that whatever it is, whether you're a doctor or a mother, it doesn't matter, but there's something everybody's been gifted to become. And I think the part that resonated with me where he basically gave you permission. It's okay to be who you are. And one of the things I've learned about you in the little bit of time I've known you is I don't think that was an easy journey for you to transfer into, to become, because, there's different aspects of your life that you live through, and the person you are today, the discipline of eating differently, thinking differently, what you put in your body is not easy. I watch you spend a lot of time on that.
Hmm.
So I just want to say, I think that's really cool, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting journey for me over my life to get to this place. And I feel like this was always what I was meant to be. I can look back in time and think about my relationship with animals and not understanding the connection between the food on my plate and the animal that had to die in order for it to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spent a lot of time with animals in the wild and farm animals as well. And I just feel like I connect to them on a different level than most people do. So that's why I can't ever fathom going back to putting their flesh in my body, because I connect with them on a soul level. Like, it's hard to explain.
You haven't gone through Reiki training, have you?
Not yet. That's the next thing that I need to do.
I think you should become a Reiki certified animal healer. I think
I
you'd
would
be
love
really
to
good
do
at that.
that. I would love to do that because I feel like energetically, that's really all it is. It's energy, right? So
Yeah.
animals can obviously sense a lot more than what we can sense, and they can certainly sense your energy and they can sense your vibe and your intentions around them. So I've experienced it firsthand with every type, all different types of animals, from cats and dogs and pets to wild animals like wolves and farm animals. And
And well, I've seen some of the guys you've dated, so those animals.
yeah, you
Yep.
haven't even really gotten the pleasure to meet any of the guys
Yeah.
I've dated because there's not very many in this area. If you came home with me to Roanoke, then
Yeah.
you might get a
Mm.
chance to meet more of them.
Yeah,
But
hey, you go to Roanoke, you're gonna hear them damn banjos clicking. Ding 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 ding.
it's not like that. It's
I
not
don't know. I
that
drive through Roanoke.
bad. Roanoke's a big town. It's like
There's
over 100,000 people now.
52 people there.
No.
You already said you end up dating the same people over and over, so it can't be so
You do
big.
tend to circle back to the same people in Roanoke.
Dating pool small.
I mean, there's a reason I don't live there, although I feel drawn to again because my mom's there and that's where I grew up and I have a connection to it. But it's definitely, when you've changed and transformed and evolved and experienced what I have, it's kind of hard to go back to a smaller place like that.
Well, it's just like we were talking earlier that we had dinner together before we did the podcast, and we're talking about Christ consciousness and stuff like that. Is once you've been exposed to something, you can't really go back, right?
Mm-hmm. And to talk about that kind of stuff to most people in Roanoke, especially people that are very much entrenched in the world of organized religion and Southern Baptist and Christianity and all that, which is how I grew up, would be like speaking a foreign language. And even, I think to some extreme and degree, even looked at as being like woo-woo or whatever term you want to call it. They would just kind of look at it like, you've got the devil in you, talking like that. The Bible is the way, and it's the only way, and the only way is through Christianity, whatever it is. But it has been part of my journey that I've gone through the last couple of years to explore who Jesus really was and what his true message and what his true teachings were for people. And my past, I grew up being made to go to church, and I had a very religious set of grandparents. I had a mother that was religious that made me go to church with her. My father, on the other hand, My dad was kind of more agnostic. He believed in a higher power, but he did not believe in organized religion. And the older I got, the more that resonated with me, and that's kind of where I ended up leaning more towards is being agnostic. And I was never an atheist or anything like that. I always believed in a higher power, but it brought going through my medical situation over the last 2 years and that whole transformation to kind of bring me more back into that divine realm, so to speak. And part of that journey is learning more about who this beautiful man was, and not what organized religion has necessarily made him out to be, like I was always taught growing up, but what his true message was for people, and what actually happened with him. And I am just kind of starting to peel those layers back. But from what I have learned so far, it's been absolutely amazing and fascinating. And I'm so grateful for the knowledge that I'm being led to in that realm, in that arena. Dr. Samuel B. Lee, MD, he was a psychiatrist before he moved into the teachings that he currently has. And then Aaron Abke is the other person that I have started to learn a lot from as well.
Yeah. I'm starting to check him out as well. And it's funny, you say you grew up in this going to church and that religious community. I mean, I only remember going to church once as a child. My family just didn't go to church. As we talked about on this podcast, if you really listen to the show and the first couple seasons going through the haunted house and all that stuff, there's so many aspects about Jesus and angels, archangels, the church, religion, all that stuff that's just foreign to me. I didn't understand clearly enough to recite it in a moment's notice of what Easter even was.
Mm-hmm.
When I started looking up some things, I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's his resurrection, blah, blah, blah. But I was not versed enough to be able to speak to that. Yet through my healing journey, he has come to me so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in the first season, I don't know, episode 6 or 7, agonizing over bringing Jesus and God and that stuff into the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody told me, Wes, when you start talking about that, they're going to come at you. They're going to abuse you. They're going to do all these things. And I thought about it. And I'm like, no, that is a vibration that you carry. I don't carry that vibration. And there was nothing more freeing than when I did the podcast of me meeting Jesus in those visions and bringing him into the show.
It's really interesting that you were led through what you were led through in your interaction with him, having no background whatsoever in organized religion and being made to go to church when you were growing up or anything like that.
Yeah.
And yet you witnessed it literally firsthand.
Yes. Well, he took me to him being crucified. There was 2 other people there being crucified. I could hear them talking. I could smell the fire from them cooking stuff. There was trees there that I didn't understand until I Googled it, and I could see there were trees from that part of the country. And then there was Roman soldiers there. And I remember in that scenario, I was telling Sandra Grace, it was so bizarre to me seeing Roman soldiers. I didn't know the Romans had crucified him. That might as well have been a pterodactyl. I was like, oh, I'm having the silliest vision. Then they took me to his tomb, and then he took me to the Last Supper, and he took me to walk through the Valley of Death. And I've thought about the Valley of Death scenario so many times. He did not save me in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
He left me there while him and Mary watched. And it wasn't until I said, My name is Wesley Coons, and I walk with Jesus Christ. And the light that exploded out of my chest shifted everything. It shifted the energy. The demons started to walk away. And of course, being a retired Marine, hey, my butt's been kicked for about 6 months at this point. You give me something that's going to push them back. I remember being on her table saying, fuck you, fuck you. I walk with Jesus. I'm probably not the best ordained minister on the planet, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. Jesus hasn't kicked me out. And I did a healing session with Rocky not too long ago. And one of the things that she had me do is go to my higher self. And that higher self took me right to heaven, took me right to God. And I don't know why I got chosen to do this work and why I get to do this work, but I am so grateful and so blessed and so thankful. Just before we started the podcast, this lady that I know messaged me, and I don't know her well. We just met and in a business circumstance. And she said, I went to your website and I just want to tell you, I'm impressed on how much you help women. And I see you differently now. I thought that was really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Easter and all these things going on, and 99% of it I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things Dr. Lee was talking about, and I wholeheartedly agree with, is, and this may be a little controversial for some people, we don't have to go to church to talk to God.
Exactly.
We don't have to use a third party to connect, because if he is our Father, then he is inside of us. There's a piece of us as God, right?
Absolutely.
The funny thing is, the thing that we're seeking is ourself.
It's inside of all of us.
Yes.
I remember when my dad and I used to have conversations about this, and of course it was all so confusing to me growing up. None of it really made sense at all as far as the Bible and what was being taught in church and stuff. And I would sometimes go to him with questions and things like that. And the older I got, the more I understood why he took the stance he did, and that some of the worst atrocities that have ever happened in the history of mankind have been in the name of organized religion. Yeah. And that resonated with me, and it resonated with me even more so when I started spending time on Indian reservations and seeing what had been done to them in the name of organized religion, to the point of, you look back at the Indian boarding schools and literally beating the savage out of them, taking the kids, cutting their hair, beating them if they speak their native tongue, all of these things. And it's absolutely atrocious and horrible what's happened in the name of organized religion. So it was hard for me to really ever feel like that was something that truly resonated with my heart and soul. Now, I always believed in Jesus, and I always believed that he existed, and I believed in what happened to him. I felt that love in my soul, and I can remember on Easter Sundays, if the church did a reenactment, say, of the crucifixion, I would be moved to tears by it. And so I felt that love in my heart for him. It was always there. It was just, I never understood why I had to come to this man-made building at a certain time and a certain day of the week in front of a man who had been ordained, the preacher, the minister, whatever. And I had to sit in front of them and sing these songs and listen to his message. And to me, God was everywhere, and nature and everywhere. Like, that was churches to go out and walk on the beach. To me, go walk in the woods, go see these animals in their natural habitat, see bugs and spiders and all those things. Like, that to me is God. I don't need to go sit in a man-made building to hear that and have it turned into kind of like a business, more or less.
Well, it is a business, and I'm not saying all churches are bad. However, there's people that use the church for their own gain, and they have for a very, very long time. Jesus said, "Forgive them, for they not know what they do."
Mm-hmm.
And so I forgive those people. I take what they say as with a grain of salt. That's why I like Joel Osteen and his message. His message is believe in God, give yourself to God, open your heart for forgiveness. And I haven't heard him one time belittle another religion like I
Mm-hmm.
do at the church that I try to go to down the street. I never one time heard guilt, shame, and you should be this and you should be that. He says you should be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that wholeheartedly. And I believe that everybody was given a gift when they came here. And if you're sitting there on your sofa listening to the show and it's like, yeah, but I can't because why? Because
I think that's a very controversial subject, and the programming runs so deep. And I get it. I totally get it. But for me, the thing that the root of it all to me was the guilt, fear, and shame that they will have you living in constantly. Guilt, fear, and shame. Those are the lowest vibrational frequencies that you can be in, and they'll have you living in those frequencies all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, we talk about how everything is energy, and one of the things I focus on and I've learned is everything is a direct reflection of yourself. So when I went to that one location and the message was guilt, shame, and disrespecting other ways that people pray to God, which we've all seen, we've all experienced, and some of us has done it to other people, that is a vibration. And for me, that vibration didn't match my vibration, so I left.
Mm-hmm.
Some people it's going to match because they feel they feel guilt, they are guilty, they carry shame, they carry unworthiness. I don't carry that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you find what you're looking for. Now, what I look for, and Margaret has put that in my head for a very long time, why go to your guides that show up for you and ask them questions when you can go right to God?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And when I do my work, I can speak quite clearly to Jesus. I can hear God a little bit, more of a one word, yes, no, I will, something of that nature. So when I pray and I ask him, I don't say, if it is your will to heal me, because it is his will. I ask him, will you heal me? And as I just said that, then I heard in my mind, I will.
You're right. God to me is an energy frequency,
Yes.
and he's not some man in the sky who's looking down on us and judging.
He's on his laptop, keeping a spreadsheet.
Judging every single thing that we are doing. And it's hard for me to wrap my head around the notion that he brought his son to be murdered in such a horrible, savage, and horrific way.
Yes.
In some sick way that pleases him. That's the message that's out there. Like, this is what had to happen to absolve all of you of your sins. That alone, it just screams guilt, fear, and shame. Like, that's what you want us to live in our entire lives. I can't ever make it make sense to me.
I struggle with that too. I got to be honest. I don't know how to speak to that. I don't understand it. Ty shared with me one day. I asked him, and his answer I can't duplicate. However, it does baffle my mind.
Right. And there's a whole world out there in this realm that I am just starting to learn about and tap into with Dr. Samuel Bailey and Aaron Apke. And and others. And it is absolutely mind-blowing. And I think that most people aren't ready for it, but I think a lot of people are starting to wake up at the same time.
Oh, they're waking up big time. They're waking up. Our planet is being called to the table by God to step up, elevate, raise our vibration. All of our children are being born super gifted. It's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I got this book that I have just started reading that is called The Essene Gospel of Peace. And it is the actual teachings of Jesus before organized religion got their hands on them and distorted them. So I want to go straight to the source, right? Like, I'm on a quest for truth, and I luckily have been led to the knowledge and the people I've been led to in order to lead me down that path. And this is one of the things that I was led to learn about who this man truly was and what his message truly was. And it's all love, right? It's all love, and it's all that we all have that within us to tap into the divine. And I experienced that firsthand. You don't go through a cancer diagnosis and like I had, and made to face your own mortality in a way that you've never had to before, and not believe in something higher than you. And that is what I learned how to tap into, and what helped move me through all of this stuff that I experienced over the last 2 years. So I know because I've experienced it firsthand, and I've been so blessed and grateful to be able to experience that. So I even get emotional thinking about it, and the fact that it's led me to this point in my life where I'm now learning more about this beautiful man, and his message is so powerful, and what we are all capable of.
Well, they say in the Marine Corps, probably in most military units, there's no atheist in a foxhole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you're facing that mortality when you're doing that. I think it's human nature to look for a higher power because we are spiritual beings in a human body.
Mm-hmm.
We can sit behind a computer and analyze it and act like a jerk on the internet, and we can do all this silly stuff. But the reality is that is a lower vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus resonates at such a high vibration. I had a client, 3.5, 4 years ago, I forget what it was. Jesus came in during that healing session. Did I ever tell you that?
I don't think so.
My friend Dawn. I loved Dawn. She was my friend. And she was very, very sick from cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the most amazing, most talented, most beautiful person you've ever met. And she had these blisters all over her hand. These kind of looked like warts. I don't know what it was. And when she would come into the healing sessions, I would always hold her hand. And she said one day, she said, nobody's held my hand since I've gotten sick.
Wow.
And she said, I love you for that. I love that you don't look at me and are not afraid of me.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing a session. And I've got to be honest, I seen where I had seen where the cancer had come back, and I hadn't talked to her in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And this healing journey started for me. And I'm like, well, what if I reach out and I can't heal her?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I can't think like that, because whatever her journey is her journey, but I'm going to do my absolute best. And we were doing healing sessions, and she was getting better. And Jesus came in. As I was working on her, this energy field started coming in the room, and this golden white light was just, it was so powerful that it almost hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It was like this electric field coming in. And I remember telling Dawn, something's coming in the room, and I don't know what it is. I mean, I was pretty new at this. I was still doing it for free for people. I didn't have a space yet or anything. And as he came in, the energy literally pushed me away from her against the wall, and I couldn't move. And I could see him. I could see his robe. I could see his robe moving. And the way he looked at me, the way the energy, the vibration of unconditional love, that vibration of unconditional love was so powerful. It's like the strongest drug you've ever had, but it was like, I don't even know how to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And he placed his hands on her chest and he said, she will not die from cancer. And she felt it. She's crying. I'm crying. Jesus is actually pretty funny. And he looked at me and he said, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that to me many times. And I love him so much. And then when he left, I remember she and I just held each other and cried. It was the most beautiful experience. And her numbers got really, really good after that. I mean, it was better and better and better and better until it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
She decided she was going to leave her husband.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a strong ass woman. I'm like, you're this sick and on this journey of healing, you're going to leave your husband. And he decided to take her to court to take the children from her because his argument was, well, she's dying. She's not fit to be a mother.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being so angry about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at court with her and I was watching her by the minute getting worse. She couldn't fight the cancer and fight for her children at the same time. And she went on a trip and she died in Utah.
Wow.
And I remember being so angry. And Trinae and Margaret both said, honey, she couldn't fight both battles.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing she didn't do is let go of the anger that she carried towards her husband. And I kept telling you, you've got to let the anger go. You can't harbor anger, raise your vibration and be healthy.
That was quite a test
Yeah.
of that, to put her in that situation where she would
Mm-hmm.
have to release that level of anger when he is at his absolute worst as a man.
Yeah. I almost quit healing after.
I could see why.
I was just so devastated. I wanted to save my friend. And she ended up saving me.
Mm.
She showed me what it was like when I would come home and they would be here, right? And they would use the pool and I'd come in the house and I would get to see what it was like to have somebody in my home when I came home. I've missed that for such a long time. And she showed me what love was. We weren't romantic or anything, but love isn't romance. It's just this beautiful energy. And the funny thing, I don't think I've told you this, is when she died, she became one of my greatest healing tools that Jesus gave me.
Mm-hmm.
She would show up in this golden globe. And I knew it was her, but I didn't know enough about things, so I wasn't going to use her. And then there's Jesus gave me the golden armor of God. And I don't remember what episode it's in, but it's in there somewhere, where I floated down to this chariot with him. Did you listen to that episode yet? Have you listened to
I
that
don't
one?
think so. What season's that in?
I don't remember.
I listened through season 1 to the beginning of season 2.
Yeah, must be in season 2 then. I don't know. But when I was sitting there and he placed his hand on my hand, she was right there in the window, so I knew I could use her. And when I pull her energy into me and flow that energy into my client, so many things changed for the client. And I remember when I started doing that, my clients would come back for continuous healing sessions over time. And they're like, I don't know what you did before, but whatever you're doing now is significantly more powerful. And that was when Jesus showed me to use the energy of her as one of my tools
Hmm.
to heal them. So yeah, that was interesting.
Well, you've worked on me a couple of times now, and I can attest to, I don't know if she was brought in for you to tap into during my sessions, but either way, it was a very powerful experience for me. I've never had that kind of work done on me before, and the cord cutting was very emotional, and the second session was also emotional as well. My ongoing healing physically from the procedure I had for my breast cancer and all that is an ongoing thing, and that was part of these sessions. So it felt energetically unlike anything I've ever experienced before. And like I said, it was super emotional for me.
Makes it fun, doesn't it? I mean, I love doing this work. People ask me, what do you see? I'm like, I don't know. I don't try to see things. He flows through me at a very deep level.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the hose that goes from the gasoline truck to the car. He flows through me. I'm not doing the work. And there's so many times I will do something and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing because I didn't read it in a book. I didn't learn it in a classroom. And all of a sudden at the end, they're like, oh my gosh, that's gone, or this feeling's gone, that emotion's gone, that pain's gone, that connection's been removed. And I'm like, okay, cool. I was wondering what the hell I was doing.
Yeah, I have never had any sessions like this before, and I couldn't see what you were doing. Obviously, I was laying on the table, I had a blindfold on, and it's not like you're walking me through step by step. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I can sense that you're moving around me in some fashion, but I don't know what you're actually doing over me and around me. So the fact that I feel what I feel in those moments and will like just suddenly and instantly burst into tears, and I have no idea why. And then it's because that was when I was doing this cord cutting on you, and I had no idea you were doing that. I just felt this instant burst of emotions come out of me and start wailing and crying, and I have no idea why.
I've seen where we cut if you don't know what a cord connection is, every single person that you've spoken to, you've made eye contact with, you've met with, every school teacher, every classmate, every police officer, every whatever, there's a string connecting you to them. And so what we do is we remove the ones that are less than unconditional love. And if you want that, you can actually go onto VB Healer on YouTube. There's a video on there. It's like a 2.5-minute video where I cut the cords, so it doesn't cost you anything. And it's the first healing I've ever done on a video. So I was a little nervous, and my friends are like, dude, I felt everything you did. I'm like, that's so freaking trippy to me. I'm like, cool. All right. Yeah. So there's that. But when we cut that, it allows you to start healing and moving forward. It's really a beautiful thing. So
Yeah, especially with, you don't realize energetically what you carry with you through life from past relationships and romantic relationships, friendships, partnerships. It doesn't matter what it is. That leaves an energetic imprint on you.
and I do it from, we get a little, I guess maybe we're controversial on this show. We talk about organized religion and what's actually real, like God, and connecting right directly to him. However, when I do it in other dimensions and other realms and past lives. And when I started adding those to the prayer that I do, I see so many more energies that need to be removed. It's interesting. And it makes such a deeper impact in the client. And I always feel great after a session.
Yeah, I felt so much lighter after that first session. And the second session happened because when I went home to Roanoke last month, I don't know if it was the room I was staying in or being in environments that I'm not accustomed to being in as much anymore since I don't drink. I don't hang out in bars and stuff like I used to. And I was at a couple different bars when I was home for one of my closest best friend's birthdays. And I don't know if something attached to me or what happened, but I just felt like I was ready to come out of my skin by the time I was coming back here, and you sensed it immediately that
Oh, I
something
forgot about that. Yeah.
something had attached to me.
Yep.
And so that was the second session that we had. That was not planned and was a spur of the moment thing from the way that I was feeling coming back from that trip. But that was a whole different magnitude that happened in that session. Like I was even more
Yeah.
emotional in that session than I was the first session. I think I cried and wailed even harder in that second session. And apparently that was happening in the moment that the angels were there working on me.
Exactly. So, yeah, I live a fun life. It's weird sometimes.
It's never a dull moment with you.
Yeah, that's true, right? You go to dinner, like, what are you doing there? Who are you talking to? I'm like, oh, this dead dude standing here in my zone. Get out of here. But something I wanted before we finish the show, I shared Dawn's story, and we talk about Jesus being crucified, and he says, forgive them for they not
They know
forgive
not
them
what they
for
do.
they not know what they do. Energy is real. Our thoughts and words and prayers are powerful. So do not put negative energy to her husband. They had a soul contract. He fulfilled his contract.
And in the moment when he's being crucified and he's taking his last breath and he can still forgive the people that have persecuted him, the people that are yelling these horrible things at him, the people that want him to die, he can still forgive them in that moment.
Yes.
It takes to an unconditional love for all of humanity, and that's really what his message was about. And forgiveness is so important. It was an important part of my healing journey, and I had no idea the toll that it would take on me to harbor all this resentment and anger that I had towards people that had done me wrong in my past in whatever way. And know it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, depending on what the person has done, but it's so necessary. It's not for their sake. It's not for their benefit. It's for your benefit to let that go and to forgive.
Absolutely. Well, Fawn, baby dear, I think you answered the question that we were discussing earlier. Why did God do that to his son? Maybe the answer is he came here to show us who we are, who he is, how to connect with God. And in the most bizarre circumstances that the father allows the son to be murdered, which we can't really comprehend, he had that happen so we could see in that instance, he forgave and showed us how to forgive. And maybe it was just time for him to go home.
I think that there's a powerful message behind it too, and that he understood the magnitude of what we all have within us and the potential that we have to connect directly to source. And he was willing to speak that truth, and he was willing to show people what they were capable of, and even if it cost him his life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, happy Easter. the thing that I like about this episode and this show is we've got church down the street, and then we have spirituality or whatever you want to call it. And I feel like there's probably millions of people that don't feel comfortable going down the street to the square building and participating for various reasons, valid reasons, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But they love God, and we talk about God.
And you can tap into that right in your own home. You don't have to leave your home to go down the street to whatever church is nearby. You can tap into that anywhere, but especially in nature, even if it's in your own backyard, in your own grass, around trees, or around whatever.
Yeah, we could go hunting in the nature. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's a whole different podcast episode.
Yeah, I might edit that out. We'll see. But Fawn, I appreciate you coming on the show. I just wanted to say thank you to our listeners. We've got the best listeners. I don't know what's going on with the podcast, but in the last 2 weeks, it's exploded. And we've got a ton of new listeners. I think we've got like 17 new countries.
That's amazing.
Right? I mean, we're in Australia. I love Australia. Never been, but I'm sure it'd be fun. We're in Vietnam. We're in Korea. We're in places I don't even know how to pronounce the countries properly. So what I would like to say is have a happy, wonderful Easter. I hope you receive our message with an open heart.
And keep in mind that this is our journey. This is what we're working through, what we're experiencing, and what we've experienced in our own journeys along the way. And keep an open heart and an open mind.
Absolutely. So, baby dear, thank you, everybody. We will see you next week.
You've been listening to Enlightenment Unknown with Wes Coons, your guide on the quest for self-discovery and the version of you we haven't met yet.